guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today in this video I'm going to be sharing my positive birth story with you guys. I had a completely unmedicated, natural, positive hypnobirthing experience with this pregnancy. So I would love to share with that you guys. So if you are in the mood to listen to a story, then please keep watching. My due date, my official due date was supposed to be January the 6th. But I started having contractions starting January 2nd, 3rd/3rd. So I had this Braxton Hicks contraction throughout my 3rd trimester, like on and off. But towards the end of my pregnancy, my Braxton Hicks got more stronger, and it became more closer together, but never progressed into a labor. So it was on December the 31st or January the 1st. I think it was January the 1st. I went in for my prenatal checkup. I am 39 weeks pregnant today, and I am start to vlog my labor from today onwards. So I had my midwife appointment today, and she said I'm already 2 centimeters dilated, which is awesome. So hopefully we'll have our baby in the next couple of days. I also had a cervical sweep. So after the sweep, I'm 3 centimeters dilated now. Pain-wise, I'm having some pressure to my lower abdomen, to my back and to my leg, just like more like an achy pain. And my uterus is contracting and relaxing, but I'm not having any pain with contractions. So that's where I'm at today. I'll keep posting, I'll keep vlogging if anything changes. Wish me luck. So today's good at 9:30 in the morning. I have been in the early stages of labor for 3 days now, 3 centimeters dilated. Contraction comes and goes. There's nothing I can do about it. I want to go into spontaneous labor. Try to avoid induction as much as possible. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to go for a walk to see if I can speed things up and put myself into active labor. Was able to get some sleep last night, which is good. Took some gravel and Tylenol, which worked. Alright, so I'm gonna go for a walk. Hopefully the next time I update, I will be in active labor. At least I hope so. So I did a few things to speed my labor up, which after that I went into spontaneous labor, like 1 hour after what I did, which is going to be another video. It's very simple, super interesting. I'm going to share everything with you guys for what I did to get into spontaneous labor at 39 weeks. So stay tuned for that. So I did a couple of things, and I went into spontaneous labor after an hour. So I was having my lunch, and I was having this intense pain where I couldn't concentrate on the pain. I couldn't eat through it. I couldn't breathe through it. I couldn't do nothing, but I just had to stop whatever I was doing and then get into a squat position, hang my hands around my husband's neck, and then just sway like this. That's the only thing that helped me get through those contractions. And by the way, my husband was super nice. He was super helpful, was helping me with every contraction of mine. He was there for me for every contraction, each and every contraction. So these contractions started to become more frequent. It started off with every 10 minutes, lasting for 30 seconds. Then it went to, within an hour actually, it progressed to every 5 minutes, lasting for like 30 seconds to a minute. Some of them were lasting for a minute and a half. So this was the thing with my contractions, you guys. It was never regular. So I was like hanging on to my chair and going through one contraction, and I felt like something was popping. I felt like I was peeing, and I remember telling my husband, "Oh my God, I think I just peed on the floor. I just peed on the floor." And I started crying, and he's like, "Why are you crying? Even if you peed on the floor, that's totally fine. We can clean it up. And I was so embarrassed. It was not actually pee. It was my water that broke. So, but I wasn't sure if it was my water or if I was pee. So I called my midwife to check with her, and she's like, so if it is your water that has broken, your labor is going to progress for sure, and you're going to be having intense contractions back to back, and watch out for more fluid leak. So she asked me to lay on the bed for 10 minutes, lay on the bed straight for 10 minutes, then get up. So if it was my water that was broken, then my water will start dripping when I go from a supine position to a more standing up position. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can do that, because if I had to go get through my contractions, I had to be on a standing position. I could not sit or lay down whatsoever, because that kind of intensified my pain even more. I had to walk through my contractions. That was important to me. My body wanted that. So I was like, I don't know if I'd be able to lay down through my contractions, but I'll try. So I went into my bed, started to lay down, and boom, another contraction hits. I can't do this. Like, it was so intense that I jumped out of the bed and had to go into that squat position to get through the contractions. Mind you, when I was in the squat position, I was able to breathe through those contractions. So I did hypnobirthing. I practiced hypnobirthing throughout my pregnancy. I'm going to link a book that I was reading, not reading, but I did through Audible, in the description box down below or the comment section, so that you can check that book out if you are interested in hypnobirthing. But it was a really good book. It was a really good read, and I got a lot of insight into what hypnobirthing was, how you can really tweak your breathing into your favor, and to breathe through the contractions and not really stiff up your body, but just let go of everything. That really helps with the pain. So I didn't have enough budget to take hypnobirthing classes, but whatever the knowledge that I gained through the book was really worth it. I would definitely recommend you guys check the book out. Oh, by the way, how's my outfit? This is from Ect Apparel, not sponsored or anything, but Ect Apparel, if you're seeing me, I don't mind if you guys sponsor me, but this looks super good on me. I love this color. I am making workout videos on my channel, so if you're interested, check my workout video out. I have a 7-minute pregnancy workout, low impact, no jumping whatsoever, in my channel. I'm gonna link it down in the description also. It's gonna pop up on the card right here, right now. So yeah, so at this point I was walking and I wanted to go to the bathroom. I felt like I wanted to poo, but I didn't want to poo. But I had this urge to poo, but I was in a lot of pain. I really wanted to show my husband if it was my water or it was just whatever, right? So I wanted him nearby, because while I was going through those contractions, I really wanted him to be my side. But I was sitting in the washroom, was going through a contraction as well. So it was very intense, and I started breathing again. So every time you're breathing, you let go of your body. You technically like loosen up all your muscles, right? So you just go limp. So that's what hypnobirthing teaches you to do. It is a little bit hard to do in real life than what you read in the books. But with practice, I was able to do it. I did practice hypnobirthing, or the techniques of breathing, throughout my pregnancy. I started practicing it at 13 weeks and all the way to through my labor as well. So I was sitting in the bathroom going through this contraction, and I felt like I was peeing again, but I knew it was not pee. So it's like, okay, my husband was sitting right there and was like, check the toilet. I think I'm not peeing. And I just lifted my butt up just like that off the toilet. Super TMI, super gross. And he looked into the washroom and said, no, that's your water. That's not you peeing, that's the water. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so this is happening. I called my midwife and I'm like, I'm 100% sure it was my water that broke, So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to labor at home for a little bit longer or come to the hospital? So she's like, it's totally up to you. If you feel like you can stay at home and labor for a little bit longer, then that's it. At that point, I went to the shower to take a quick warm shower. So I was in the shower, my water was leaking again. Now I leaked some blood along with water. I got really scared, and my husband was like, you know, this is okay. You don't have to freak out. Everything's fine. You're just fine. Just take a shower. So he reassured me a lot. So I took a shower. He was getting ready simultaneously. And then I popped out of the shower. I was in the middle of this contraction. My husband is like, do you want to put some makeup on? And I was like, what? It was so funny. I was holding my tummy and we were like laughing all over the world. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna put some makeup on. So I was having this another break in between between the next contraction, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put some makeup on. I put some makeup on at that point and was going through the country. It was so funny. I wanted to vlog this entire thing, but this was so personal, and I even turned on the camera and I was like, no, I want to enjoy every moment of this. Even if it was painful, we were enjoying it together. And my pain was becoming so intense that I knew I wouldn't be able to sit in the car still if I'm having another contraction. So I'm like, let's get out of here. I'm going to the hospital right now. I think I'm gonna have a baby today within a few hours. Anyways, we reached the hospital. We pulled in the parking lot, and after we pulled in the parking lot, I just quickly got out of the car because I was having another contraction. Now I'm standing in the parking lot again on all fours and going through that contraction at that moment. So we reached the department, and my midwife was there already waiting for us. She welcomed us, got us into a room, and she checked me. She's like, okay, can I check you again? Let me see how dilated you are. And I'm like, sure. She said, check me. I was only 4 centimeters dilated. And I was like, oh my god, I went through all this pain and I was like 4 centimeters dilated. But she said, you might end up staying here for another 6 or 8 hours because you are a first time mom, so your labor is gonna be maybe for 8 hours or even 12 hours. So I was mentally preparing to be there for 12 hours or at least 8 hours. So I was taking every contraction at a time. She was checking my baby and everything. Everything was just going fine. And after half an hour, she was checking. She was like, I'm gonna put these leads on your tummy just for half an hour because we want to check how your baby is doing and how he's recovering or doing with each contraction. So I'm like, yeah, sure. So she was monitoring me, and after half an hour, my baby was not recovering after the contractions. His heart rate was dropping to the 70s. So that is very detrimental of a baby to drop down to 70 with each contraction, and he was not recovering after the contraction was over. I had a birth plan in place, and in the birth plan, I clearly stated that if anything were to go wrong while I'm in labor, do not tell that to me. If anything negative happens or is bound to happen, do not tell that to me. Do not let me know that I'm in sort of an emergency. You know what I mean? I do not want to hear that from a doctor or a midwife or a nurse. I want to hear that from my own husband. To tell him what's happening, communicate everything with him, and he's going to decide what I should know and what I should not know. Right? So that was so important to me, and I had written that down in my birth plan. And my midwife was so nice. She honored every single thing I wrote in my birth plan, and she communicated this with my husband. And he had this nice way of telling that to me without freaking me out. And I knew that he's able to do that, so that is why I was so particular that everything has to come through him and not directly to me while I'm in labor, because I want to enjoy the process. I want to be present. Yeah. So he told me this. By the way, the PDF of my birth plan, which is printable, will be in the description box below. So if you want to have birth plan in place, and if you're looking for inspiration on how to create one, which is very simple, ideally 1 page, for your midwife and your nurses to read. There's one in the description box below. I would highly recommend you check that out because that one was so nice. It was very detailed but yet short. So I would highly recommend you check that out. So he told me what was happening, and so he asked the midwife, so what is the solution? So she's like, we can see if this is gonna happen during the next few contractions. In that case, we will have to consult the obstetrician. So if an obstetrician sees you, then it is very high chance that you would end up having a cesarean section if you're not recovering from whatever is happening. So I knew that, and he knew that too. So he was like, okay, fine. So at that point, my mind just like that. Like in my mind, I was thinking, okay, so this is what's happening right now. This is what has to be done. So that did not scare me. That's what I'm trying to say. The fact that my baby was decelerating did not scare me away. I was thinking was, okay, so if his heart rate is dropping down, I am going to drop everything that I had planned, or written down on my birth plan, and I'm going to opt for cesarean because I want my baby out and healthy. I was not going to be stubborn and want to stick with the birth plan. So everything just happened in my mind, just like putting a switch on. And I did not feel bad about it. I was super positive about it too. So the hypnobirthing story that I talked about, or the book that I talked about, helped me get that mindset while you are in labor and make a quick on-the-spot decision that is good for you and your baby. So I learned that through that book. So I would highly recommend you guys check that book out. It was so much positive reading that book. So she said, okay, so the plan is to call the obstetrician if this happens again for a few more contractions. The other thing you can do is you can change positions and see if that is going to help your baby. So I'm like, yeah, I can do whatever it takes. So at that point, I was in a squatting position, going through my contractions. But she was like, lay down on your left side. Maybe that would help. So I remember I told you I couldn't go through a contraction laying down. I was scraping my cut out while I was at home laying down. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to do this for my baby. I lay down on my left side with a peanut pillow between my legs. And they even offered me Entonox, the gas. But I could not take it. Like, I took it for one contraction and then it made me feel nauseous and dizzy. So I'm like, I don't want this. And the way hypnobirthing teaches you to take your breath is through your nose and out through your nose. But when you use Entonox, what it does is you're taking breath through the mouth and exhaling it out through the mouth. But that is not how I practice my breathing throughout the pregnancy. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't literally do it. So I stayed away from Entonox as well. So I stayed in that left side position for almost an hour. So this is now almost 3:45. I stayed in that position, and because I was not moving around, I was not progressing. Like I was not, dilating enough. At that point, I was really like still at 4, maybe like even 4.5. So 1 hour passed by. My OB came and saw me. He's a friend of us, the obstetrician, and he was so nice with me as well. And he's like, okay, Anne, why don't you change your position and see how that works, or if it's gonna make a difference now. Let's see if the baby has recovered. So I changed position again to a squatting position, and he was doing just fine. So what happened during that 1 hour was my baby was on anterior position. And then during that hour, he flipped to a posterior position. So I was having a lot of pain on my back, which is called back labor. And also he was like tugging onto the cord. It was not around his head, but tugging onto the cord. So that was the reason why he was decelerating. That hour went by, and he flipped himself to an anterior position without anyone doing nothing. So at 5:30, I decided to get into the shower. There was no tub available in that hospital, so I had to use the shower. So I was sitting in the shower. My husband was spraying that hot water right into my perineum, because that's where I wanted my hot water to go, and it felt very good. So that's when that 1 hour or 1.5 hours, from 5:30 to 6:40-ish, p.m., that's when I did take hypnobirthing seriously through my transition. My transition was happening at that time. So I didn't even make a single noise. I was so proud of myself for that hour, because while I was in bed laying down, I was screaming with every contraction, and my midwife was like, concentrate on your breathing, concentrate on. My husband was, concentrate on your breathing, and I was like, I'm trying, but I can't. And then I went to shower. I was able to concentrate on my breathing again. So I did that for 1.5 hours. The whole hypnobirthing thing worked for me for that 1.5 hours. But the challenge that I felt with the hypnobirthing breathing was, you have to concentrate on your breathing. No one has to talk to you. So that was in my birth plan as well. Do not talk to me while I'm in labor. So no one talked to me in labor while I was doing that, and I did not even make a noise. There was pin drop silence in that room, and my midwife was coming to check on me to make sure that I was doing okay. So after that hour, 15 minutes, my midwife came in and she wanted to check my baby again. So I was moved a little bit. My concentration, somehow I was not able to get things back together, and it went out of control. I couldn't do it anymore. I did not make a noise for an hour and a half, and then when she came and talked to me, which I know it is her job to do that, it went out of my hands and I couldn't bear the pain anymore. So at that point, I was like, I screamed for epidural. I like begged for epidural. I was like, I want epidural right now. I can't take this pain anymore. I want epidural right now. And my husband was looking at me because I told him that whatever I tell you, please convince me not to take epidural. And he was looking at me and he was like, baby, you can do this. You came this far. You can totally do this. And I'm like, no, I can't. Somebody kill me. These are all the words that I screamed out at that moment. So my midwife was like, okay, let me check you for the last time. And I called for the anesthetist. And I'm like, no, don't check me. Just call the anesthetist. And she was like, okay, fine. So she respect my word at that point, and she called the anesthetist. But for my sake, the anesthetist was late, and my midwife was like, let me check you for the last time, and maybe you're just towards the end of it. And I'm like, okay, like I almost gave up at that point. I was like, do whatever you want. And then I just laid down. At this point, I stripped my gown off. And I was like super naked, like an animal. I was like totally like an animal at that point. And so she checked on me and she was like, do you want this epidural at this point? Because you are already crowning. So crowning means your baby's head is right at your at your vagina, and you can see the baby's head, and he is going to be here anytime. It's just the pushing that is left. So she's like, it is just the pushing that is left, and your baby is going to be here any minute. Do you want to have epidural right now? But I was pushing, and my midwife didn't know that I was pushing. I know. My body was asking me to push, and I was pushing, and my midwife was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I think I'm pooing. I'm pushing. And she was like, okay, so I think you're ready to push, so push. So I was not able to push on command. I only could push when my body was asking me to push. So I was not listening to my midwife. So I was like, I told her, I can't push when you ask me to push. I'm gonna push when I'm ready to push. And she like totally respected it. She's like, okay girl, you do your thing. So, and I started pushing. Like 4 pushes down the road, after my 5th push, my midwife was telling me something and I didn't even listen because I was in a lot of pain, totally concentrated on pushing. My husband came up to me. He was like standing next to me. Anyways, our baby is decelerating like super bad. His heart rate is going down to the 60s. He's not recovering. You have to get this baby out in the next push. So my baby was just crowning at that point, and I didn't know how to get my baby out in just one single push. But I pushed the heck out of it with everything I got, because that thing he told me scared shit away. Like, I'm not gonna let this happen to my baby because we came this far. I want my baby to be healthy. So he was in distress. My baby was in distress. His cord was tugged somewhere, not on his neck, but his cord was pulling so bad. my baby was in distress. So like, I got really scared, but then also I was not scared. Like, it was very positive. I was so determined that I am going to push this baby out in the next push, and that's what I did. I pushed for 1 minute straight. I'm not kidding. I pushed for 1 minute straight, and my baby just flew out of my vagina. It was an uncontrolled vaginal delivery, and I ended up having a 3rd-degree tear. But my baby came out just fine. He laughed right away, drank milk, like right away. I didn't even have to teach him how to suck. He was just like a pro. So that's my story, and this little sweet being was born. Like, after like a couple of hours, if you ask me, would you do this again? I would say, hell yeah, I would go through this yet again. Like, if you really want to do it, you can do it. Your mind is so powerful, and do not let your mind take over your body. If your mind is asking your body to do it, commanding your body to do it, your body is going to do it. It's just you have to train your mind for that. So that is my little positive experience. So just for reference, my labor was 4 hours long and just 20 minutes of pushing. So everything that I did to have a fast labor and fast push is going to be another video. I did a lot of things, so I'm going to explain everything to you to help you guys out as well. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and also follow me on Instagram. My ID is @_Maria_Tom, which is going to be right here. Alright, so that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's see you in my next video.